Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 19th episode of the Gran Turisbros podcast. I am here with a very special guest. We have Saika 159 from the Asian region joining us today to talk a little bit about BoP, a little bit about his history in Gran Turismo, and just have fun talking with us today. So, hi, Saika. How you doing?
Hi, I'm very good. And thanks for inviting me to do this thing this time.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for making the time. I appreciate it. And I'm sure everyone listening does too. So, yes. And your name is Jonathan Wong. For those that maybe know you for your names on the... or maybe some people may not know your PSN so much, but they'll recognize Jonathan Wong from the World Tour events. So
I hope so.
Oh, yeah. Especially with your last results in Sydney. That was great, man.
Yes, thank you very much. And that was unexpected for me because all the guys so very good pace in the race, and at the practice it's like I'm half a second down on the pace, and there's some lucky feature that the top guys did a very good time in the qualify, and I just get a very good result right after that.
Yeah, man. I was rooting for you. It was very fun to watch, and you definitely showed some good consistency, and that really paid off. It got you the podium. That was really cool.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome, man. And how was that event? How do you reflect on that first World Tour event of this year, and how it kind of might be the last one for a while?
I think because obviously we want to everyone be safe. In the first phase, I was like, defense stop is maybe a good chance for us to have a rest or something to do other things, and also keep ourselves safe from this very bad virus. But I think the event will keep going maybe after the virus is clear, and maybe the world final will be still happening if the situation is not too bad in the end of this year. But yeah, we actually need some time to have some breaks, or maybe let them to adjust the BOP's penalty system, because right now it's not very good for all of us to just race each other because the penalty system is not very good right now.
Yeah, that's definitely a frustrating aspect of racing right now. We can only hope that the further adjustments that they make with the incoming update will hopefully treat that penalty system. Hopefully it's advanced in a more reasonable way, because although they did recently update it, there are still some weird issues going on with the with slight taps turning into big penalties. It's reduced, but it's still there. Yeah.
I think the penalty system right now, the biggest problem is someone dive into the car in front in the inside. The car behind won't get a penalty because he go in the inside. The justice is always at the car inside, so the car being dive bomb we got a 2-second penalties, or maybe sometimes 4 seconds. That's some unacceptable penalty right there. I hope they can adjust this one. But the other things is like the penalty back then is not be very good, obviously, but sometimes it's pretty good because maybe you just tap someone, you get a penalty, but that's consistent. Or sometimes in the period, they don't apply any penalty at all. That's also consistent. But right now they just gave the penalty to you randomly. So that's the problem at this moment for the penalty system.
Yeah, and it makes everyone drive in a strange way.
Yeah.
I mean, when you consider the penalty system being the way that it is, and the slipstream with how strong it is, I feel like it's a really bad recipe for some drama, huh?
Yeah. The draft is really not good right now. The 30S they reduce it, and the slipstream they obviously picking up the boost of the slipstream. So everyone try to qualify the race under the slipstream, not by its own. It's not very good for racing and not very good for watching also.
I was interested in asking you about how you felt in general about the difference in the region that you're in. You're in the Asian region.
Yeah.
And how is the racing over there? I know obviously you're only there, so it's hard to get a perspective on other regions. But I'm sure, have you watched a lot of like YouTube or Twitch to see how the other regions do things? How would you compare your region to the other ones?
I think, yeah, the Japanese guys in Asia is very nice. They always give a lot of room to the other cars side by side to them. But other than the Japanese guys are basically very close to the European guys. They do the stuff a bit tougher, and sometimes will just dive into you and not give you too much space to use it. So the Japanese guys, I think, is the most nice guys in racing because they all always watching somewhere they don't want to attack and follow them until he maybe got some mistake and he will go for attack. But there's also one major problem to them to compete to the other guys because, you know, European guys, US guys, and even me is a lot more aggressive than them. So they are very hard to race with the other region. So that's the different culture of racing.
Yeah. But I also noticed that once they get to World Tour events, they can tend to have more of a an attitude and kind of be a little more strong with their passes and things like that. So they can adapt well.
Yeah, they definitely can adapt a lot better when they compete with the other regions guys because I think they also have a lot of racing in Japan in real cars and or maybe other esports or something. They know how to racing, but they just don't know how to race like we are. They have their own racing concept. So if they race more with us, they can use our racing styles and they are really, really fast.
Cool. And have you noticed that there are these, due to the slipstream effect being stronger in recent updates, do you feel like different racers have kind of shown up in the top split or finished a little higher in qualifying?
I think some guys in the mid pack is starting to come up to the top split because everyone is complete a lot of race because the FIA races keep holding the season or something. And they also have their own league held by some player for the Japanese guys. So everyone is keep practicing racing and all of them is become even more fast than last year or maybe just last month. So a lot of guys is maybe on the second split is coming up to the top split.
Yeah, I've noticed that here too. So it is more or less the same as far as as far as that kind of thing goes, where you'll see people that have been upset at maybe being in the second split or being down at the back of the first split, or have kind of taken the opportunity to really put the practice at a better rate and start getting up there. Yeah. That's cool. Have you felt recently you still enjoy FIA the same way, or do you feel like you kind of have to force yourself to do a little more? Do you do every race and so on?
No, actually, it's like this year and the last year, I was like, when I saw some race I really want to try it, I'll do a bit more practice. But most of the race, I'll just do it casually and have some fun because race in non-I race, you're supposed to be fun. Yeah, of course you want to go to the FIA race offline the events or something. But most of the purpose is we have fun together, but not trying very, very hard to just go for the event and try to win there.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, more or less the same way I do. I like to balance it out. I'm not on the game all the time.
Yeah.
If I like a combo, I tend to do it more for practice and such like that. But that way, it keeps it a little more balanced and sane.
Yeah.
But so speaking of FIA, I guess, and balance. We in the intro I talked about how the balance of performance is going to be changing soon, and you actually did something that I was starting to work on, although I didn't do it as effectively as you did. So I just thought, well, he's doing the work, so I'll just it's like cheating off of homework. I'll just look at yours.
I did the VOP test on right now is 2-track on Group 3 cars, but I was just do it on the track I think that is useful to show the difference, like the Suzuka East and Monza no chicane. Both track is on specific purpose. The Monza no chicane, you can test the top speed of the car when you go in real racing, because the long straight to the turn 1, you can test the true top speed of the car. And the Suzuka is basically consistent cornering. You can test the handling of the cars. And also I used the brake brush 0 to test out the true tire wear by me. Obviously everyone have different driving style, so the tire wear may be a little bit different, but brake brush zeros might be the best way to test out the brake brush, the tire wear of the car right now, I think.
Yeah, brake balance 0 for sure. So if you're listening to this and you want to see the results or see his, because he is updating it, he has finished Group 3 and he's going to be doing Group 4.
Yeah.
But definitely follow him on Twitter. It's Saika, SAIKA 159.
Yep.
And you'll find the spreadsheets and all the data, which is very interesting. And you definitely did a good job picking Suzuka East and Monza. I feel that's two very, very good tracks to see how the cars do and their respective weaknesses and strengths. And so if you're not really following so far, for people that are listening, the basic idea is we want to have a data set in order to compare how much has changed after the update. So he's gone out and tested the tire wear in each car in the Group 3 to see where they're at, how much tire wear is left, and fuel, and lap time drop off. And some cars are surprising in how much. And obviously, as he said, your mileage may vary. In your hands, the cars may be slightly different, but I think this paints a good overall picture of performance and balance. And so once the update is out, which we have no idea what it will entail, it might be radical changes. It maybe not so much, but we'll have this information to compare to. So it's a really great thing.
Yeah. And the one thing is, I want to say is, the midship car, I'm not very good at, so...
Neither am I.
The time is maybe a little bit off by the specific driver to drive ML car all the way, and the tire wear may be a little bit worse than they are. So if you are an ML car driver, you can test out for your own car to compare with one or two FR cars to see the difference to me, because you would be a lot better on the tire wear and the lap time on those kind of cars.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, and I have for this season, which is now an exhibition because of the coronavirus. I went with Renault, and I've never really gone for it in the past. Last season I did Jaguar, so going from that to to an MR handling machine in Group 3 was kind of difficult, and your testing is showing how bad, and it's confirmed my suspicions with that the Renault RS01 is very hard to handle, especially once you get into the later stages of a stint and the tires start to wear off. I ran into that issue in Maggiore the first round. It was great. I got second place for pole. It's good over one lap. It has a lot of downforce, but once that tire wear starts becoming more, it's so terrible to try to keep going. So
especially like I did some compare to I find Mikau to test some ML car for me to do some comparison. It's like if you don't know how to drive the midship car, is really difficult to hold your rear tire very good. And because I'm a WRX driver, the road driver, I used to be drive more protect the front tire. So when I transfer to the midship car, I used to feel of the front tire, so my rear tire is going a lot faster than Mikau did in the test. So that's the most difficult part if you're not used to be driving those cars and going to do the test.
Yeah, you have to really take care of the rears and drive it. Yeah, you almost have to drive it as though you've already lost a lot of wear, and like the style that you have to take into a race is so different than a hot lap. Right? And that's something I found challenging, and if you get it right, it's extremely rewarding. So I can see why some go for it, but who knows? I mean, maybe the MR handling will be affected in a big way. Maybe MR cars. Maybe we will see ourselves going into an MR dominant period. We just don't know.
I think some of the ML car right now is really, really good because of the BoP right now is a little bit advantage to those midship car on the qualifying lap. So if they can have a very good run on the first half of the race, they might kind of held up the very good position to the finish. But it's another thing is like the slipstream right now is too strong. So that may be one of the main reason that the midship car is a little bit faster right now, because they're supposed to be cornering faster. But in the slipstream situation right now, they can just held up to the powerful car on straight line.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. There's a lot of races in, especially in like Group 4, where my Renault, the trophy, it's really good with tire wear, and it doesn't have that. Its power is down.
It's really, really down.
Yeah. So the only way some of these races, the only time the only reason I was able to do well was because I could hang on to the slipstream of a more powerful car. So that advantage, if slipstream is reduced to what it was in previous updates, where we kind of liked it, then those cars that are down on power, it's going to be difficult for them. But I think it's an issue where talking specifically about the Renault Trophy, that car is difficult to BoP because it's so light.
Yeah,
so
it's like, too light, and it's very stable under every situation. It's really, really good car. So
yeah, it's too light for the category. I feel it's like a race car. It's like a straight up race car.
I think if they want to BoP that car, is like they might need to do what they did in the Sydney France to the 4C. A lot of power and weight added to the car to be a little bit worse on the tire wear and a little bit competitive in a straight line.
Yeah, I would think that would be a good way to go. Either that or take the other car. I think the other Mejan. Take that one and try to figure out a way to BoP it.
Front wheel drive one.
The what, sorry?
The Group 4, the front wheel drive one.
Oh yeah, I forgot it was front wheel.
Maybe they can use that car for the race, but I don't think because of the tire wear anyone will go for that car other than they got a like Monza Group 4 or East Outer Loop on Tokyo for the Group 4 race.
Yeah.
Other than those races, I think nobody will use that car.
And the Ferrari 458 in your testing, wow. You really have to drive it like a grandma.
I struggle on that car. I really
think everyone
struggle
does.
on that one. Because it's really, really tricky on the rear. Always want to slide a bit, even the tire wear is on 100%. And brand new tires still want to slide around. I need to drive it really carefully, but it's really unsuitable for me to drive that car.
Yeah, I've never been one to try that car. I mean, it's fun on a hot lap, but we said in the race, it's just crazy after a few laps. But then you have, the Audi R8 also has a big drop off. The NSX, the Lambo, and so on.
Basically, the midship cars drop a lot after your rear tire is 30 or 40% gone. The car is starting to drift all the way around. It's really hard to drive right now.
And one possible fix is, instead of a fix that could be implemented that wouldn't even need any balance of performance adjustments, is just having races that are less tire wear.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. If the race got less tire wear, like maybe half to right now, but you still need to go to pit once, but not limit what tire you need to use. You can have a little bit more strategy to use in the race, maybe.
Yeah.
But the tire wear is really the main problem right now, and also some car you can see the fuel consumption is not very good, and some car is really good.
It's all over the place, the fuel consumption. That was an eye opener for me, man.
Yeah. But
it
because
is crazy.
This test I did was on the race pace, not by saving fuel, so I tend to rev to the rev is pretty good on power.
Yeah, like on the Ford GT.
Yeah.
If for people that don't know, in order to its peak horsepower is like you have to let it rev forever. So it's just wasting so much.
To maybe 100 or 200 rev before the limiter. So your limiter, your rev counter is always blinking. That's where you want to use the power. So that car's fuel consumption bad is because you need to rev it all the way through.
Yeah, and one that's interesting is the Corvette.
Yeah,
you have to use in order. I see most people in the Corvette.
Yeah,
they short shift.
Yes,
right. Were you doing that in that car?
I doing short shift around maybe half or maybe 40% of the shifting bar.
Oh, okay.
So it's short shifting. So that's how bad the fuel consumption on that car was.
Wow. Yeah, it loves drinking gas. It's an American car after all, right?
Yeah. But I was surprised the NSX is good, but not very fast of all the car, because I rev like until the rev limiter is blinking and I shift up, but it's still not using very much, but it still use some of the fuel, not like you can keep short shifting in the real race. It can save a lot of fuel, but if you want to rev it high, it still eat a lot.
Yeah. So which manufacturer are you using for this season right now, the exhibition?
I'm using the Aston Martin right now, but I just raced the first race and I test out the Group 4 and it's hopeless, so I didn't race anymore.
Yeah, that's a pattern with a lot of Aston drivers.
Yeah, the Group 3 car is not very bad, but it's everything in the middle, and you can see in my spreadsheet, the top speed of it is only 274. It's not even going to the average. So it's really hard for a powerful car, but the top speed is that low.
Yeah, that one can use a little bit of help, I think. And are you think you're gonna stay with that one, or I'm interested as to get everyone's mindset as far as these new BoP changes go. I feel like a lot of people are kind of, depending on when the update comes, I imagine it'll come next week. If not, it'll happen during the season, which will be strange.
I don't know. Maybe because I'm teaming up with Fabian right now to choose the manufacturer. So we are thinking about maybe changing the manufacturer, because if the BoP or the tire wear fuel wear stay on like this, the Aston Martin is no hope to get on the podium. Even maybe it's really tough to get on to the offline event. So we might want to think about another manufacturer, but it all depends on how the BoP updates and the fuel wear and tire wear change after the update.
Yeah. I hope they release the update before we have to pick our cars, man, because that's going to be really weird. But yeah, you mentioned Fabian Portilla, the best friend of every Gran Turismo player in the world. He's awesome. And and you guys shared, he's known, well, before I get too far, he's known as Car McQueen, used to be Pedro Loco McQueen. And he's on Team Car alongside yourself. And you guys had an amazing experience with the World's Fastest Gamer 2. Yeah, man. One thing, I wasn't able to meet you, but I actually, when you guys were in Las Vegas, I happened to be down at the Speedway, and I got to go up to the Exotics Racing facility you guys were at when you tested those cars, and it was just so cool getting to see you get out in the car for the first time, and how everyone looked kind of nervous and kind of like they didn't know what was going to happen. But describe that whole situation for us and how you felt.
We really don't know what is going on until the final moment. It's like the last night before we go to the racetrack, we stay in Las Vegas, and we at the top floor of that. I don't remember which hotel, but it's on the top floor, and we got a penthouse. All of the drivers for the competition is stay in that house for the night, and we can see the whole view of the Las Vegas. That was one of the best nights
that's pretty.
I've ever been. And the next day, they just tell us to wake up like 7 something and leave the hotel, and we don't even know where we are going. And when we arrive, it's a racetrack, and the first thing is like, there's 10 supercars parking outside. Choose one of them. Then they just tell us to go choose one of the car you want and stand by it. And the next moment, we in the racetrack in that car. That was crazy.
That's awesome! Wow,
that was really crazy.
That's funny because at some point you're like, choose a race car. What is this, a trick? Is one of them better than the other?
Yeah.
That's
really,
awesome.
Really awesome. And after we sit in the car to have some experience around the track, and we go back to some briefing and told, you're now going to drive that car. Everyone was like, what the? And it's like, no, that's not real. And we actually in those cars and flying through the track. And that was my first experience in a supercar, and the first time I'm in the track. That was crazy.
Yeah,
I'll
dude.
never forget it.
Oh man, yeah, I watched the videos of you guys on YouTube or whatever, and
Yeah,
you guys looked like you were having a ton of fun, and I was there in real life, getting to
yeah.
watch everybody. And those cars, um, I forget what the actual make, and I mean they're like custom cars. They're kind of like training race cars
Yeah,
so they're a little loose, right?
the race car I think is the exotic race car made by them. Is made by the team that at the track. Like I think it's back in 2013 or 12 around that. It's their own race car with a Renault engine and welded diff and midship drive with sequential gearbox and no ABS traction, nothing at all. And you just drum in and you in the car. It's really good to drive and very hard.
Yeah, man, they're like 230 horsepower.
Yeah.
It's the EXR LV02, which you can. So for people that want to look into it, it's on the Exotics Racing website. I was watching you guys taking around the track, and yeah, dude, that track's pretty tricky because it's like it was built over a parking lot, and so it's very bumpy in weird ways and kind of has dips and stuff. So a great first challenge, especially when you don't give, they're not telling you what's going to happen until it happens. So it's a good way for people to see how well you adapt. And also, I would want it to be that way because it doesn't let me think about it. You know, if they told you the day before, you don't have to think about it all night.
And you
it's
can't
just like,
sleep
here
well.
it is. Oh, I know. I wouldn't have been able to,
Yeah.
And that was Darren Cox's
Yes.
program. Darren Cox is famous for creating the GT Academy program with Nissan. And so he's gone on with his idea and philosophy that, gamers can be great racers if you give them a chance. You can find one. So it's cool getting to see him again as well.
And also, we met him because he also is our previous team funder. The eSport and Cars funder is also Darren Cox. So we actually meet him at England and in his office, and we have some track with him. He's really, really nice guy. We love him. We want to meet him again because right now me and Fabian is already not in the team because they started to support the GT Sport team. So we hope we can meet him again. Maybe we hope we can join the World Fastest Gamer 3 this year. I don't know I can make it, but I want to.
Yeah. Well, so you're saying that the car team is no longer in GT Sport?
Yeah. It's
that's
really a shame that they don't support the GT Sport guys again. I think the main reason is the F1 eSport. They already got 4 drivers on that side, so they want to focus on them, but not too many other guys to affect them in the practice.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and we'll continue doing GT Sport because we love it, So
we love the game.
Yeah,
that's
all
main
that matters. Exactly. So I'm sure more opportunities will come up for you based on the results and your accolades, your achievements.
I hope I can get more opportunities to do those kind of things, and I hope every guys that racing in top speed or racing in the offline event can do like what we have been in the last year, because that was amazing.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that's nice of you to wish for, because you know how, I mean, you getting to be in that car and appreciating everything that was going on. Yeah, there's nothing like it. You feel, all you can think about is you're sitting in the car and you're thinking, wow, I can't believe video games gave me this opportunity.
Yeah, that's
really
exciting, and that's maybe some guys in racing game streams, and we actually come true once. We didn't go long after that, but at least we already reached something that some guys dream of and we dream of, and we hope, because this kind of things, the rivals right now is very bad, and every racing driver is come back to the sim racing. I hope this is the chance to give more sim racing guys to have a chance to go for the real car, because you can see a lot of guys in sim racing got a lot of talent, but they just don't get the money, don't get the opportunity to go for the race car.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's a really cool thing that was unexpected. A lot of people thought it couldn't be done, so I'm glad there's programs out there to show that these guys can be effective, especially when you have a situation that motorsports is in now, where testing is very limited, and more drivers are taking to their simulators in order to try to sharpen up or keep learning tracks, what have you. So that's good. And so from your year, the second one, James Baldwin was declared the winner.
Yeah.
And man, that's quite an achievement.
He was really, really fast. I can remember that the first day we in the exotic racetrack. He's in a GTR R35. I'm in a 488 GTC. I remember right, if I'm correct. And I was 2 seconds off his pace.
Yeah.
I was in Ferrari.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he was in the GTR. And he was 2 seconds faster than me.
Yeah, and this is a short track as well, so wow.
He was really, really fast, and I also recall that in Big Zero, we all using that race car that they provide. Mine was a little bit worse because the car is down on power and the brakes is a little bit loose, but still in Big Zero, a lap, he was 2 seconds faster than me. He was really, really fast. And the first race he did this year in the G4, he win it.
Dude, he has some insane talent.
That's insane.
Yeah, and he's a Veloce guy too, which is cool. And he came from, technically his game was Assetto Corsa, so I was proud of that because I'm an Assetto Corsa fan. And it's crazy, he started sim racing when he was in 2017, so he hasn't been doing it that long, and he was able to really show up enough in Assetto Corsa to get chosen for the opportunity.
So I was really bad. I started the same year with him in G Sport.
Right.
He's really, really talented, and he's really fast, no doubt.
Dude, I was surprised because before the event started, once everyone knew who the finalists were, I was thinking Mitchell de Jong is going to be the one to beat.
Yeah, Mitchell is everyone's thinking is him because he drives a rally cross car.
Yeah, so it's an amazing achievement to be able to beat him. Yeah, because he's done rallycross. He's insanely fast in iRacing. Like, he's no joke in iRacing, man. He was racing with guys like Gregor Hutu and beating them like legends. So, yeah.
And the first day we met then. Not the first day. The first day we go in the racetrack. Mitchell is not really fast because he actually told us the rallycross car and the race car is totally different. The rallycross car is really fast on accelerate, but the turning or something is totally different what the race car we do on the track to the rallycross car. So he need to adapt it, and I think till the 4th or 5th days when they get into Laguna Seca, he's showing some pace, but James is already flying.
Yeah.
He was really, really good.
That must have been cool to witness so closely. And that's what's cool. It was broken up into two teams. There was an orange team and a blue team. You were on the Van Buren team, were you not?
I was in the Brew team.
Martinborough?
Yeah, I was on
Oh,
Martin
yeah,
Brewer teams. Yeah,
Martinborough. Oh, yeah. I thought Martinborough was
was a good
orange
guy.
for some reason. Yeah,
Really good.
Martinborough, it's cool, huh?
Yeah, he's good. Really good.
Yeah, I got to meet him when I did GT Academy in 2012.
Uh huh.
He was sort of kind of a mentor, sort of kind of a judge
Uh
because he
huh.
had won I think 2011. So he was there. Super cool kid. He was actually there when he was doing his Formula 2 test.
Uh huh.
So this is old Formula 2, not the current one. But yeah, I got to see him there again as well, and he's legendary himself in some ways now,
Yeah.
and doing Super GT and all that stuff. It's so cool.
Yeah.
So he was he must. I remember when I met him for the first time. Well, when I met him at the track there,
Yeah.
when you guys were doing laps, he was like, "I want them to go faster," and I was like, "Yeah, you do." He's like, "I want them to. They're kind of starting out a little too. They're being a little scared." I'm like, "Yeah, they don't want to wreck the car."
Uh huh.
But yeah. Yes, what was the most surprising thing in your opinion, as far as getting in a car on a track for the first time? Like, what did you find most kind of surprising?
Oh, surprising. Everyone is very great, even the competitors.
Yeah, but as
Everyone
far
is
as
very
the
friendly.
feeling,
Yeah.
the feeling of the car, like, did you notice there was more oversteer, understeer?
Actually, I think in the race car, when I sit in the race car,
Oh yeah.
I I feel a lot easier to drive than what we are doing in the sim racing
Mm.
because
Oh yeah.
lots of feedback from the car just directly transfer into your body and you can feel it. But on sim racing, it's just look here and by your hand
Yeah.
is a lot harder.
Right. The sense of speed is a lot
Yeah,
different, right?
yeah,
Because you're feeling everything going on, and even though you may feel like you did a really fast lap in a real car, you get out of the car and you're like, oh, it wasn't enough, but
yeah.
it felt fast, to you. So
And the most difficult thing is like when you drive a real car, you pick up the speed and you feel the speed because you never reach that kind of speed of your life maybe, and you need to get in, jump in, and go even faster.
yeah, man.
That was crazy, terrifying, but extremely interesting.
For
Because
sure.
we like to race in the sim racing. Of course, we love to go fast. If you drive the real car to give you an opportunity to go fast, you want to do it. If you just overcome your fear, you can do it.
Yeah, that's a whole other aspect of going fast in real cars. You really do have to have the balls for it. You
Yeah,
have to know that you have to trust yourself, flat out
yeah,
do things that may hurt you, and it's just a whole different mentality when it
yeah.
comes to being effective in a real life car. So I'm sure you gain a lot of respect. I sure did, in gaining respect for real life drivers.
They get a tons of maybe infinity respect from me to them to go that fast in a race car in a race 300 kilometers on some straight line. No,
Yeah.
I don't get the balls to do it. I can sure I don't get it. But maybe I experience once. I might get the balls to do it, but right now I don't think I can.
So I want to talk a little bit about your personal background.
Yeah.
So how's Hong Kong been for you growing up? Like, how did you get into cars? I know there's a big car culture in Hong Kong.
Oh, how I get into car culture is my dad.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah. When I still don't know how to pronounce some kind of words. When I was like 3 or 4, my dad is already taking me going around, watch the cars, go to the car parks, like that. He's the main reason that I love cars and love racing.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So what was his favorite racing to watch?
I don't think he watched racing a lot, but back then he just go to watch Macau Grand Prix every year. Right now he's already go. Yeah, he also go to Macau every year when the Macau Grand Prix is host. But other than that, I don't think he watch any racing. Maybe back to 90s or 80s, he watched BTCC or some kind of race like that.
Mm-hmm.
He basically maybe just watch the cars that he can reach, like the Honda Civic, those kind of cars that affordable, is very kind to every people in the world, that everyone can buy, and very close to what they're driving.
Yeah. So he's more of a street car enthusiast.
Yeah, he said to me, like, when he's 18, he got the driving license. He's just driving extremely fast on the street every day. That's bad. Don't learn it.
Yeah.
That's bad.
It's just fun because, like, wow, what a place to do it at. It's just so tight and they're so densely populated. So it's like, wow.
Hong Kong is basically a street racing culture. Not very much into real racing, but street racing is a lot in Hong Kong.
Wow, yeah, man, I can imagine. I mean, Hong Kong's always been one of my favorite street tracks in Gran Turismo, so I imagine it was kind of like that.
Nah, that track to us is ridiculous because you need to drive on the walkway.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
To us, it's like, we're not supposed to go there. That's not possible.
Yeah, there's a lot of impossible things that they.
But that was really fun.
Oh yeah, so cool to be seeing your local country city in a game like that. That's super cool. But yeah, then do you have like a favorite make? Like, I know you were an Aston Martin, but do you like any specific make that you really love to follow, or like,
Yeah, for me, absolutely is Subaru, man. I did the 2018 and 2019 in manufacture for Subaru to support Kalakuma to go to the World Final, but last year is unfortunate because 2 regions let us down. But the other 3 regions is really doing a very good job. We just lose it. I think it's around under 20 points to make it to the World Final. It's very sad for us. We won this World, go to the World Final no matter what, and I just sacrificed myself to the last year. To every time at the qualifier, I gave the slipstream to Kalakuma to let him get a pole and try to get the 40s. We actually team up together to do a very good job that season. So it's very sad for us, but it's very, very good fun that year. We did a lot of job to try to get the manufacturer to the top 12 of the manufacturer.
Yeah, well, now, the Subaru, there was I like to call the new rule, the rule that makes it so it needs to be, it's only the 3 regions that put the points up. That's like the Subaru rule, so.
Now maybe also the Honda and Mazda rules.
Right, yeah. Because it could help them out a lot.
You can say Honda, they got one of the best driver in Japan, Shohei, and Mazda also got one of the best driver, Akagi, in Japan. They both don't get a chance to get in the manufacturer race because no driver in the other region choosing their manufacturer.
Yeah, so it'll help them a lot, but so that could be something for you and Fabian to consider, I guess, huh?
Yeah, because this year, I team up with Fabian. Of course, I won't help Kalakuma anymore this year, and of course, he don't need my help right now. He's a lot faster than me, so I think he did his job. He might get a very good chance to just go to the manufacturer race, but I need to think about which manufacturer we can choose with Fabian, and I need to do an even better job than last year to get a very good result, because Asian is also a very competitive region, in manufacture. So I hope I can do a very good job is consistently 30 or something even more to get me into the manufacturer race.
Yeah. You deserve to be there for sure. It's a really fun event. I mean, have you done it? Did you do it in 2017? No, right? You said you did Subaru both years?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be a great experience.
I only did one manufacturer race in the first event at Salzburg.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was the only choose the nation guys and split them randomly to different manufacturer to do the manufacturer race.
Right, I remember that.
That was kind of funny. I also want to go back to those kind of race in nation race, because that was the real nation race for the countries, not the solo race for yourself. But I think that's really hard, because basically in Turkish, it's only Mikhail's racing right now. So if he win it, he needs to team up with maybe two other guys that not even in top 5 street to race with him. That's not very good.
Yeah.
For the format of the racing, and also not very good for the driver that's in the top street but didn't go to the final.
Yeah, it's a difficult balancing act for the organizers to try to give every nation a fair shake. I mean, you have issues like ongoing issues such as Quebec in Canada. Quebecians aren't allowed, and there are a few other countries that are strangely missing for one reason or another. But I can only hope for the best. But
I hope the next year or maybe a few years later they could solve this kind of problem. I think they're trying to fix it, but it's just too many things they need to think about, and too many things they need to adjust to let the people come here or just come to race. But you can see this year, the last year, the event is keep growing, so that's a good sign for the whole GT community. So we need to wait and see what will happen in the incoming.
For sure, and I'm glad we have people as dedicated as you are to the game, and that have a lot of love for the game and the community. It's what it's all about. It's a lot of really good guys, and I'm happy to share in the love with everybody. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So,
with that, I really appreciate your time again, John. Yeah. It's been really cool talking to you, getting to know you, and you never know. We may do it again sometime in the near future, maybe to do an update on how things have changed.
Yeah, maybe we can do, if you want, maybe you can do this kind of things again after I test the BoP after the updates. And maybe next time I can ask one of my friends to join us, because he's also helping me to, you can see in the spreadsheet, there's another driver. He's not on the top street, but in the second or third street in Asia. So he's not fast like us, but he's not slow. He's helping me all the way through to this day to do this kind of test, to show you guys the other driver can do what kind of things in those cars, to give more data to you, to show you. So maybe next time we can
I'd love
also
to, man.
Ask him to join us to talk about these things.
Yeah, it's a great idea having a driver that is kind of closer to the average. No, I hate to use the term average. I'm sure he's a great driver, I'm sure, but
Yeah,
I know what you're
he's really
saying.
good. He is good, but just maybe not the World Tour event levels. So
Yeah.
he's still good. I just say that. Yeah.
He's consistent. Everyone's
Yeah.
good. If you're in the second split and stuff, it's also really good. It's
Yeah.
it's crazy competitive. But yeah, it was great to meet you in New York. By the way, you're a very cool dude.
I was very good to see you there also, and
Man.
I hope we can meet sooner. I hope the
Sure.
coronavirus is going faster. We don't want it to hear.
Sure as hell gonna try.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Have a good night or a good day over
Yeah,
there.
you have a very good night. Hope.
I will try. It's
Yeah.
the weekend, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But all right, Saika.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Everybody, have a good evening, morning, wherever you may be, and we'll catch you again on the flip side. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.